Funkle's Customs, where I find all kinds of cars in different places. I usually fix them and flip them, but sometimes I keep them. This is My Garage Revivals.
Over the weekend, I went to fetch the new seats and dashboard for our E36 BMW. Hello everybody and welcome back to My Garage Revivals. So as you can see, we've got our BMW E36 freshly painted in this beautiful blue color, which is in fact a factory color for these cars as far as I know. So yes, we decided to go with the blue and a black as a two-tone, I think, for the wheels, and it also matches the bumper splitter and also the spoiler, which I've also decided to paint in black, so that is looking very good actually. On the interior, we've got a roll cage fitted already, so Richard and his guys over here at the shop were able to do this for me. So obviously this thing hasn't been painted because it's got this beautiful chrome red finish. So yeah, basically the only thing that I need to do to wrap this car up will be to get the accessories installed, like the lights and the windows and all that. And then this thing should be ready to go down the road. So as you can see, we've got our engine painted in the same color. We've got a black valve cover still, so that hasn't been painted. But yes, we are going to jump into this thing, going to get it fired up and take it back to the shop so we can hopefully put this thing to bed. Alright, so we are back here at the shop and we are ready to start putting this thing back together. So obviously we've got a couple of things to do to this. There's not really a whole lot, but yeah, the things that we need to do are things like these taillights that needs to go back into the car. So we'll just pop these in, and then yeah, I'll show you guys around Cyclone's car a little bit as well. We've got a couple of things going on there as well. So yeah, as you see, I did do a little bit of Bondo work on the body over the weekend, and yes, we've got basically this thing ready for paint. We just need to try and get this thing running again, because obviously we are missing the wheel and the front suspension on this side, which I have ordered. So yeah, we're gonna try and get this thing up and running. We still have a little bit of coolant in those bottles over there, so we'll just top up the radiator a bit. But yes, the reason why I'm also here is we're going to grab the interior for the BMW, which I collected over the weekend. So this is going to go into the car. These are what they call drift seats. So we've got one for the passenger side and also one for the driver side. So I think these are going to give the car a little bit of a, yeah, drift spec look. So yeah, that is kind of the idea that I didn't have with this car, was to make it a drifter, but it turns out that it is a very popular customization spec for this car. So we are going to be installing these, and then I also have got a brand new dashboard over there which we are going to be putting in, and I think that is going to hopefully complete this car so that we can try and get some money out of this, because we spent quite a little bit of money on the paint job alone. It was yeah, quite a little bit of money for that, because they had to obviously prime the car, and then they had to paint some black base color for this paint job to be finished off like this. So we actually have like 3 layers of paint on this car. So that is why the paint job was a little bit more expensive than what I would expect. Alright, so I'm just going to come over here. We're going to grab our toolbox, and we are going to be just finishing this thing off, putting it all together. So we've got our front headlights, obviously our windows with the window winders. So let's get our headlights into place. So these need to be screwed down again, right over there and over there. And let's grab the other one. Right, we'll screw it down over there and over there. Alright, so I think that is it for now with the screwdriver, because these blinkers, they just pop into place. So one over there, and let's grab the last one. And that goes into there. Alright, so as for our passenger seat, we don't have anything in the way at the moment, so we'll be able to get this installed. So let's just line it up and get it in. And we're going to grab our wrench. And let's just make sure that we bolt down all of the bolts. Right, and there we go. That is basically in. Just need to see if I can get to this last bolt, which is a little bit tricky to find because this bracket is kind of in the way. Alright, so we've got that bolt tied up as well. Alright, so now I need to try and get the driver's seat out that we currently have in the car. Alright, so this is a little bit easier. There we go. Alright, so that is the old bad seat taken out. Alright, so let's grab the other drift seat over here. And I put it into place. And hopefully I'm going to get to all of these bolts as well. Alright, so that's 3 out of 4. And then this last one, yeah, I'll just have to get a little bit creative to get to that bolt as well. So it's a little bit tricky. But there we go, that is the last bolt. Alright, so now moving on, we've got to get these windows installed, obviously. So these rear windows, they just pop into place. And we'll also grab this one. It also just pops into place. And then we'll grab our rear window. That also just pops into place. And same for the front windscreen over there. That is popped into place. Right, so now let's grab our window winders over here. So we'll get this one into position. Alright, and bolt it down. And then we'll grab the last one. That goes over there. And let's bolt it down. Alright, and then last but not least, we've got to put our dashboard into place. So let's just grab our cluster over here. And to make sure the cluster is in place as well. And we are now ready to get our dashboard installed. So let's just see if we can slide it into position over here. Alright, so there we go. We're just going to screw that down. And let's be sure to screw down these 2 screws on this side as well. And just like that. Alright, so our BMW E36 has been completed. And I think this thing turned out very well. I love the color. I love the interior. It looks definitely as if this thing is fit for the track now. And maybe even to do a little bit of drifting. Because this has got a 3.8 locked differential in it. So the potential new buyer for this car will be able to get this thing hopefully a little bit of sideways. So yeah, I think moving along, we're going to start working on Cyclone's car. Because as I said, we want to try and get that thing up and running. So that we can get it taken over to paint. So that they can sort out the paint job on this thing. So there's a couple of things that I did manage to find. We've got a brand new grille. We've got a new dashboard around the corner for this. So I think let's actually start with this dashboard. So we're going to grab the dashboard here. Alright, and let's just see if we can get this into position. Just like that. It actually fits like a glove. Alright, now obviously I need to go and grab my toolbox again. Alright, so our toolbox is here now, so we can quickly screw down the screws on the dashboard. And you may have noticed we also have got the interior for this car ready. So we need to still install that once this thing comes back from paint. Because it's kind of pointless for us to install it now while we don't have, basically the car painted yet. So we'll rather just get this thing painted up first, and then we'll also get the headliner we are still missing, and also the brand new wheels and tires. So I did go through the suspension work on this car. We've got quite a little bit of, not really issues with it, but there's a lot of things that I would like to check. Because as you may know, in the last episode, I found a lot of loose bolts on the suspension. Alright, so starting off, we're going to get this front suspension put back together. So we've got our missing lower control arm. And then we are going to grab the strut rod that attaches to that. So let's get that into position. We'll screw that down. Alright, let's grab our upper control arm. We'll also bolt that down. Yeah, I actually bolted that down, not screwed it down. Alright, so we've got our hub and hub carrier assembly over here. So let's just get this put together. We need to obviously grab our screwdriver for that brake disc. Alright, so let's just come over here. We're going to tighten that down. Alright, and then this should be good to go back on. Alright, let's just be sure to bolt it down. And now we can grab the brake caliper. Right, and we'll bolt it down over there, and also there should be 2 bolts here. There we go. A little bit hard to see them, but we've got it. Right, so there's the front shock absorber for this side. And let's just be sure to bolt everything down. And that is perfect. Right, so now let me quickly do this before I forget. We've got to pop the cluster install. Alright, so that is sorted as well. And then yeah, I think now we just need to mount our tie rod. So this goes over here. Bolt that down and that over there. And then this wheel probably has lost its pressure already. So we'll have to just see what it does when we lower this thing down. But before we do that, we need to install our torsion support, which was missing. So I had to get a new one of these. So let's just get that into position. Let's grab our welding handle over here. Alright, and should be a weld over there, one over there, and on that side. So that should be sorted now. Alright, so let's quickly see if we can get our transmission support mounted. Alright, so we've got 4 bolts on that, and then we've got a bolt at the back and the front of the transmission there. Alright, so let's just see if there's any loose bolts that we can see from here. Alright, it looks like everything else is tightened down on the drive shaft. I'm quite sure that it is tightened down, so we'll maybe get this thing up on the lift after we have moved it, or are able to move it, because we're not going to be able to move it now. Alright, so let's get these torsion bars back into place, then at least we can lower this thing down back onto its wheels, see how it sits. Alright, we'll get to that in a minute. Alright, and let's get this into position. Alright, let's lower it down now, just see how this thing sits. Alright, that doesn't look too bad on that side. Alright, we actually need this as well. We'll get that installed in a minute. Alright, we'll just put these jacks over there. And let's see if this side has got, yeah, absolutely, yeah, it's got a little bit of tire pressure still, but we'll have to quickly just air that tire up a bit. Alright, so let me grab the air compressor over here. We'll set it to 2.2 bars. I think that should do the trick. Alright, and let's air it up a bit. Alright, that is perfect. That should do the job for us. At least until we are able to get this thing, yeah, to the paint shop and back. Then we'll try and get some more, well, brand new tires, obviously, for it. Alright, and we'll bolt that down and that as well, or rather screw it down. And then, as I said, we are going to replace the front bumper with this paintable bumper. And I think this is the easiest way to tighten the bumper, is just from the top. And that is it. So we are basically ready to try and move this car now. I just want to quickly tackle this rear hub because when I changed the wheel on this back left wheel, basically, we noticed that there was a little bit of an issue with the hub. So I'm just going to swap it out quick. It shouldn't take too long, so let's do it like this. Let's get it lifted up with our floor jack again. Alright, and let me just grab my wrench again. And we'll also take this to the table, or to the toolbox rather. Alright, just like that. And let's get this wheel removed quickly. Alright, and this brake caliper needs to come off. Alright, so there's the brake caliper. And let's grab our screwdriver now, because we need to take the brake disc off. Right, so there's our brake disc, still in good condition, and we'll unbolt this hub. Alright, so that is a very bad hub. Actually surprised the car was running with it. Alright, so we'll get the new one in and bolt it down. Let's grab our brake disc again. Let's tighten that down, and then the caliper can go back on. And just make sure we tighten everything else. Alright, so what I think we'll do is we'll quickly get some fluid into the radiator. And then I want to see if I can pull this thing up onto the lift, because I would really like to see if there's any other loose bolts. So I'm just going to do this as a precaution. Let's just get our battery in as well. Alright, let's bolt the battery down. Perfect. Alright, so as I said, let me quickly sort out the radiator fluid. Also grab my screwdriver and just put that back in the toolbox. And that is basically junk. Alright, so let me sort this out. Alright, so the radiator has been topped off, and I'm just checking the oil again. So the oil is perfect. And I believe now this car should be ready to fire up. We don't have any liquids or coolant or anything that we still need to do to this. I think it's just a matter of taking it for a quick move up and down. Alright, that doesn't feel too bad. We've got good brakes as well. Alright, and let's get this up onto the lift over here. Alright, so we've got the car more or less into position. Let's just push it back slightly. Alright. A little bit more. I think that'll do. Alright, let's just tighten down this handbrake again. Alright, let's get these arms under the car now. Just like that. And let's do these as well. Perfect. Now we'll be able to get this thing lifted up. Alright, let's go a little bit higher. Alright, that should do. Alright, so let me just grab a wrench, because we never know what we might find. If there's going to be any loose bolts lurking under the suspension. So let's put that over there, and yeah, let's just go through everything, make sure everything is nice and tight. So the cross member is tightened down. That is tightened down. Everything actually seems to be good. Alright, all the brake hoses are done. That is also perfect. Alright, moving along, we're going to check around the back over here of the transmission. So all those bolts are nice and tight. Alright, so that one was loose. Good thing we are checking these things. Alright, on the exhaust, everything is nice and tight. Yeah, that looks good. Right, rear part of the drive shaft, that looks good. Differential, we've got all the bolts tightened over here. I think that also should be tight at the top. Let's just check if we can loosen it. Alright, so that is good. Rear shock absorbers, they seem to be good. Alright, and on the leaf springs. Seems good. Let's just check those as well. They seem to be tight. Alright, perfect. And over there, everything seems to be good. Handbrake cable seems to be tight. That's also good. Alright, and on this side, the leaf spring. That looks like it's loose up there. Might be a bit hard to tell. Alright, no, it was good. Alright, so I think, yeah, everything should be good under here. So I just wonder if all the brake components are tightened down back here. So let's just check this. That should be good. And those are all good as well. Alright, let's quickly lower this thing down a bit because I want to check behind that wheel if the brake disc and everything is still nice and snug. Alright, so yeah, everything looks good over here. We don't have a screwdriver in our hand, but I can tell that it is nice and tight. Alright, so even the hub is nice and tight. Doesn't look like there's any trouble over there. Alright, that is absolutely perfect. I don't think there's anything else wrong with this. So now that the only thing that is really left for me to do with this is to take it over to Richard's Auto Body so that they can start on the paintwork. So let's just put our wrench back into the toolbox, and I'll just sort out a couple of things, and then I'll get the ramp truck ready to load this car up onto it. So yes, the ramp truck is actually parked out back because I had to make space for the BMW over there so that we can put those parts back together that we left there. Right, so let's get these lift arms out under the way. Alright, that is perfect. Right, so let me just think how I'm going to do this. We need to get the ramp truck through here again, so let's just move this car out of the way a bit. It's a little bit of a tight squeeze, but we'll fit over here. Alright, so I think that should be out of the way. Let's go and get our ramp truck into position, and I'm also going to open this door quickly. I think we'll just pull it out all the way into position. We'll get the ramps down, and then we're going to see if we can get this car loaded up. Alright, let's fire this thing up. This is going to be a little bit of a maneuvering around this small yard of mine. Right, and glow plugs are off. Let's see if we can get this thing back into the shop. I think that's as close as I can go. Let's go back a bit. Alright, that is very close, but we got it out. Alright, let's park it up here for now. Just be sure to set the handbrake. Alright, let's get these ramps lowered down. Alright, there we go. Alright, so now just want to see if I can get this door closed quickly. And just like that. And let's jump in this thing and see if we can get it loaded up onto our ramp truck. But before I do that, I do have a little bit of money that I still needed to add to my wallet. So this is actually payment for TC's truck. He did send it over the weekend to me. So that actually brings us up to over $1 million in our bank account again. Alright, and then we're going to jump in this thing. Let's fire it up again. And we're going to maybe reverse it onto the ramp truck, I think, this time round. We'll see what's going to be the easiest. I think this should be fine. we can just line it up at the one side. Alright, that looks a little bit crooked. Can we see? Yeah, let's go a little bit forward. Alright, I think just try and reposition this a bit better. We are kind of falling off the one side. Alright, so this is a little bit harder than I thought reversing it on. Yeah, I think now we are good. Alright, I'm happy with that. Let's just get it out of gear. Alright. Well, there she is. She's loaded onto the ramp truck. Alright, let's get these ramps tucked back in. Alright, perfect. And then we'll close up the shop. Alright, so let's jump into this thing and go and drop it off at Richard's Auto Body. Alright, I almost forgot about the glow plugs again. Alright, but let's get going. We just gotta go down the road. Alright, so here we are. Let's reverse it into position. More or less. I think this should be perfect. Alright, we're just gonna park it over here. Let's put it into neutral. Alright, let's get these ramps down again. Alright, perfect. So we just need to jump into this thing now. Yeah, it's a little bit high. Sometimes you miss your jump a little bit. Alright, and let's pull this thing off slowly but surely. Alright, there we are. And let's just see. I think we're gonna reverse it into the paint booth today. Alright, let's reverse it back. I just noticed there's a broken headlight in the trunk. I actually never checked what is in the trunk of this car. Let's just give it a little bit of a look here. It looks like it's just, yeah, it's just the two broken taillights. Alright, well, let's just put that in our backpack for now. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to quickly see where Richard is, because he said he wanted to talk to me. So yeah, I'll be right back. Alright, so I did have a quick chat with Richard, and he asked me if I could maybe help him a little bit by taking some of the parts off this thing, because his guys are all away for, yeah, basically a little bit of a break at the moment. So I think it's lunchtime probably. So we're gonna help him out a little bit and just remove some of these parts. So let's take off this roof rack. I think that's a first thing we need to take off over here. So I don't know really where they put these things when they are working on the car. So we'll just put it down next to the paint booth over here. And I'm not sure how this rear wing comes off. It might actually also be a screw. Is it a screw? It looks like it's a bolt rather. Yeah, that looks like a bolt. Let's get a spanner or a wrench. Alright, and let's see. I think it's just the two bolts on this. Alright, so that is definitely not so bad. Taking the spoiler off. I believe you would like to have the windows popped out, as well as the taillights must come out, the bumpers must come off. So yeah, it's actually a lot of work for these guys, and I never really understood how quickly they would be able to do this, because it's stripping down a whole car that comes into their shop. So we'll take off the front bumper, and let's grab the rear bumper as well. Alright, so there's the rear bumper. And let's see what else we need to take off, I think, the taillight bezel. Those parts should come off, but we're going to need the screwdriver again. So let me just actually take this whole toolbox over. Alright, so the taillights, they are mounted over there. And let's just take this one first. Alright, I see we are actually missing some light bulbs here. So it's a good thing I'm checking this. Alright, and let's just do this other screw over here. Alright, so there it is. Just put it down over there. Alright, this little field wall can also come off, I believe. Should have a screw over there and also a screw on this side. I'm not too sure how this comes off otherwise. It actually looks as if this was bent a bit. Yeah, we might actually see if we can get him a new fuel door for this car as well. Because we obviously need to still order all of the trim. So I think the trunk can stay. Let's get these windows popped out. Alright, so there's the one window. We'll just put it down over here. Let's grab the windshield. That can come out. Alright, and then over here, let's come and take off these door mirrors. Alright, so that is good. And let's strip this one off as well. Alright, I think they usually just mask off the door handles, so we're not going to bother with those. Don't think it's going to be easy to take those out anyway. Alright, as for the brand new grille we fitted earlier, just grab the whole thing with the headlights. We'll just put it down over here. Alright, so what else is there we need to take off? So that is pretty good. I think the rest of the parts, they'll actually mask off. We can probably remove these rear windows. Right, so let's grab the wrench. Let's get in here. We're gonna unbolt it over here. Right, so there's the one small window. Just put it down on top of the rear glass. And also this one. Unbolts over there. Just put it down on top of the rear glass as well. Perfect. Alright, so I think that is basically stripped. I'm not sure if they take the exhaust off. Maybe they mask it off when they paint. But yes, I actually still need to order a couple of parts. So yeah, it's not really a lot of time left for this episode. But I might actually go back to the shop and jump into the shop truck. Then we can go over to the parts store and just grab some parts. I think if we can get all of the trim and maybe all of the parts that we still need, like the window winder and the front windows, they'll save us a little bit of time to, yeah, basically not have to buy it tomorrow. So let's get these ramps stuck back in. We're going to jump into our ramp truck over here. And let's take this thing back to the shop. Alright, so we are back at the shop. And I would actually like to park the ramp truck in its place. So we're gonna just quickly pull the BMW out. So let me get this thing fired up. Alright, so this thing is actually ready to go to auction now. So I will be doing that maybe today or maybe tomorrow. I can do that. We'll send it off to auction and see what happens with this car at auction, if we're going to make a little bit of money off it. So yeah, there we go. We've got our BMW pulled out of the way. Let's just pull our shop truck in. I think I should actually just flip this thing around, spin it around and reverse it into place. Alright, so there we go. Glow plugs are off. Alright, let's quickly spin this thing around. Alright, luckily no traffic. Alright, so there we go. We've got our Ram truck sorted back into its place. So now what I want to do is quickly get our shop truck out, because I need to go and buy some parts from the parts store for Cyclone's Challenger. So it's just a little bit easier to drive this thing than to drive the Ram truck around. Alright, so it fires up quite well. Alright, let me just quickly close up the doors. Alright, so we are ready to go over to the parts store. Luckily it's not very far. So let's quickly jump in here. Alright, let's just do a little bit of a U-turn over here. We are going to just park here in front of the shop as always, and I'm going to quickly head inside and try and buy all of the trim pieces for the charger, and see if we can get that all loaded into our truck and take it back to the shop. And then once they are done with the paint job, we can get this thing put back together very nicely. Alright, there we go. We've got all of the trim we need to buy for this car of Cyclone. I've got some in my backpack as well. I'm just going to dispose of these things in the trash bin over here. Alright, so we've got window winders, we've got two front windows and all of the wheel arch trims, as well as the front and rear chrome. So the rest of it is in my backpack. Alright, so let's get back to the shop and offload all of these things. And then I think it's about time to call it for this episode. Alright, so let's get back to the shop. Alright, so here we are, and I think it's just about time to offload these pieces of trim. So we've got a trim for the front right, and we've got a trim for the front left as well. So those are for the arches. And then we'll grab the rear one over here. This is for the rear right. Which one is this? This one is the rear left one, obviously. So I did get the correct parts. Let's quickly drop these things off that we've got here. We've got the light bulbs for the taillight. We are missing. We've got the front left small fender trim. Well, the grille trim. This one is for the rear left on the rear. That one is for the right hand side at the front. And also the one at the left at the right and at the left at the rear. Alright, and we've got the trim for the rear as well, the long one that goes on the trunk. And I've also got the front trim. Alright, so there that is. Alright, so what I want to do with the windows, I want to grab a wrench from the toolbox over here. Just want to get these windows mounted to the winders. Alright, so this is the front left winder. And where's our front left window? It's that one over there. Let's quickly grab this. Get that installed over there. Alright, perfect. So let's see. This can just be put down over there. And let's grab the last one. Over there. We'll grab this one. That has to be mounted over there. And there we go, just like that, our front windows are ready to be mounted inside the car once the car comes back from paint. So I asked Richard to try and push it so that we can have the car back by Wednesday. So they said they will do all their best. So we'll see if it's going to be ready in time. But yes, now the only thing that I need to do is bring the shop truck back around the back and park it up in its spot. But I think that is going to be a wrap for this episode. So thank you very much for watching. I do appreciate every view, every like. And also, if you have not yet subscribed to the channel, please consider doing so. I will appreciate it very much. But yes, until the next time, cheerio!